Have you ever wondered why someone would spend $10,000 on a handbag that carries the exact same things as a $100 bag? Or buy a watch that tells the same time as a $50 one? It doesn't make logical sense. And that's exactly the point. Luxury brands were never built to sell products. They were built to sell psychology. Think about it. The leather isn't 10 times better. The stitching isn't 100 times better. The gold logo doesn't make the product work better. So why do millions of people dream of owning brands like Rolex, Hermès, Louis Vuitton, or Ferrari? Because luxury isn't about what you buy. It's about what buying it says about you. And once you understand the psychology behind luxury, you'll never look at expensive brands the same way again. The story begins centuries ago, long before fashion houses, long before designer logos, long before social media. Kings, queens, and nobles used rare clothing, jewelry, and precious materials to separate themselves from everyone else. Luxury became a language, a silent way of saying, I belong to a different class. The richer you appeared, the more powerful people believed you were. That idea never disappeared. It simply evolved. Today, instead of crowns, we wear luxury watches. Instead of royal robes, we carry designer bags. Instead of castles, we post pictures from 5-star hotels. The symbols changed. The psychology didn't. Luxury brands understand one truth better than almost any business. People don't buy objects. They buy stories. Walk into a luxury boutique. Notice what you don't see. Huge discount signs. Buy one, get one. Clearance sales. Everything feels calm, exclusive, private. Because luxury isn't trying to convince everyone to buy. It's trying to convince you that not everyone can. That's the first psychological principle. Scarcity. The less available something feels, the more valuable it becomes. That's why waiting lists exist. Limited editions exist. Invitation-only collections exist. Sometimes luxury brands intentionally produce fewer products. Even when demand is much higher, they're not maximizing today's sales. They're protecting tomorrow's desire, because desire is worth more than inventory, and that's where the real game begins. Scarcity alone isn't enough. Luxury brands also understand status. Imagine two people walking into the same room. One is wearing an ordinary watch, the other a Rolex. The watch doesn't change who they are, but it changes how people perceive them. Psychologists call this signaling. Humans constantly send signals through the car we drive, the clothes we wear, the restaurants we visit, even the phone in our pocket. Luxury brands became some of the strongest status signals ever created. Not because they're necessary, because they're visible. That's why many luxury products display their logos so prominently. The logo isn't just branding, it's communication. Without saying a single word, it tells the world, I can afford this. Whether that's true or financed over 5 years, the signal remains the same. Then there's something even smarter. Price itself becomes part of the marketing. Most businesses lower prices to attract more customers. Luxury brands often do the opposite. They raise prices, even when demand is already high. It sounds irrational until you understand psychology. Higher prices create higher perceived value. People naturally assume if it costs this much, it must be special. That's called the price-quality heuristic. Our brains often confuse expensive with better, even when there's little difference. In blind tests, people frequently struggle to tell expensive products apart from cheaper alternatives. Yet the moment they see the luxury logo, everything changes. The experience changes, the satisfaction changes, even the taste changes. Studies have shown people report enjoying products more, simply because they believe they're expensive. Expectation shapes reality. And then there's exclusivity. Hermès doesn't let everyone buy a Birkin bag. Ferrari has rejected customers. Rolex keeps supply below demand. Why? Because saying no creates even greater desire. The harder something is to obtain, the more people want it. Psychologists call this the scarcity effect. When access becomes limited, our brains assign greater value. Luxury brands don't chase customers, they make customers chase them. That's a complete reversal of traditional marketing. Most companies ask, how do we reach more people? Luxury brands ask, how do we become harder to reach? And surprisingly, that often makes people want them even more. Then came social media, and luxury branding changed forever. Today, people don't just buy luxury for themselves, they buy it to be seen. One photo, one Instagram story, one TikTok video can instantly broadcast status, success, and exclusivity. Luxury became content, and every customer became part of the brand's marketing. The product wasn't the final goal. Visibility was. And that's where luxury brands found their most powerful advertising channel, their customers themselves. But here's the biggest misconception. Luxury brands don't sell to the wealthy. Not primarily. They sell to aspiration. Many luxury customers aren't billionaires. Some save for months, some finance their purchases, some buy one luxury item to celebrate success, because luxury isn't always about showing others who you are. Sometimes it's about reminding yourself who you're becoming. That's why luxury advertising rarely talks about materials or manufacturing or technical specifications. Instead, it shows beautiful cities, private yachts, elegant dinners, fashion shows, successful entrepreneurs, actors, athletes, beautiful lifestyles. Because luxury isn't selling a handbag, it's selling the life attached to that handbag. And once people begin chasing the lifestyle, buying the product feels like buying the dream. There's another strategy almost nobody notices. Luxury brands almost never change who they are. Think about it. The logos barely change, the stores look familiar, the packaging stays recognizable, the messaging remains consistent. Year after year, decade after decade, consistency builds trust, and trust builds prestige. Fast fashion brands chase trends. Luxury brands timelessness, because trends disappear, prestige doesn't. That's why many luxury products actually become more valuable over time. Some Rolex watches sell for more used than they did brand new. Some Hermès Birkin bags have outperformed traditional investments. At that point, people aren't just buying fashion, they're buying scarcity, status, and sometimes an appreciating asset. So what's the biggest lesson every business can learn? Luxury isn't created by expensive materials alone. It's created by perception, scarcity, consistency, storytelling, trust, identity, and emotion. The world's strongest brands don't compete by offering the lowest price. They compete by becoming unforgettable. Because people rarely remember features. They remember how something made them feel. That's why luxury brands don't build customers. They build believers. And believers stay loyal. That's the difference between selling a product and building a symbol. I'm Behind the Empire. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe. Because next time, we'll uncover another billion-dollar company, another hidden business strategy, and another empire built on psychology instead of products.